My dad gave me a week to move out. That is not love. That is a free ride with emotional manipulation as the fare. Sell the house. Sell it immediately. My family is struggling. Really struggling. Damn these predatory dealers. Okay. Just Cats 581 asks, I'm going broke in my current relationship. I have a good job and make $60,000 per year. My boyfriend of 5 years owns his own business, but it isn't really profitable. We rely heavily on my income to get us by. Pay for 2/3 of the mortgage. He pays the other third most of the time. I also pay our electric bill, internet, groceries, vet bills, and if we ever go out to eat or do anything, it's expected that I'll pay. So I also have my car payment and other expenses. I've talked to him about the burden this puts on me financially, and he just gets upset when I bring it up. He also gets upset when I tell him I can't afford certain things or I'm trying to cut back to save money. I understand he's struggling, but so am I, and I just don't see any end in sight. It's been 5 years and nothing has improved. I love him, but I don't know how much longer I can do this. I currently have $20 in my bank account and I don't get paid until Friday. Any advice is appreciated. Let me make sure I understand this correctly. You make $60,000 a year, you pay 2/3 of the mortgage, you pay every single bill in the house, you pay every time you go out, you have $20 to your name until Friday, and when you try to talk to him about it, he gets upset. This man is living in your house, eating your groceries, keeping the lights on with your money, and has the absolute nerve to get emotional when you suggest maybe, just maybe, you could cut back somewhere. That is not a struggling entrepreneur. That is a fully grown adult man who has figured out that getting upset is cheaper than getting a job. 5 years. 5 years of this and nothing has improved. That is not a rough patch. That is a personality. The business was never going to be profitable because a profitable business requires the same energy and accountability he clearly refuses to apply to anything in his life. I mean, you have $20 and you make $60,000 a year because you are single-handedly funding the lifestyle of a man who gets mad when you ask him to contribute. Stop paying for things that are not yours to pay for. From tonight, sit down and write out every single expense in that house and divide it fairly based on income. If he cannot cover his share, then that is the conversation you need to have. If he gets upset, let him be upset. His feelings about contributing to his own life are not your financial emergency. Give him a real deadline with a real consequence attached. Either the business starts contributing meaningfully to this household within a specific time frame, or you're done subsidizing a 5-year hobby that has produced nothing but stress and an empty bank account. And this man-child you have been financially babysitting for half a decade has the audacity to get upset when you mention money. Sweetheart, that is not love. That is a free ride with emotional manipulation as the fare. Kick him out or move out, but either way, stop paying for someone who makes you feel guilty for being broke on his behalf. Okay, this one really hit a nerve. Let me move out to the next before I crash out. Okay, here it is. Turn Up the Rock, love that name, asking, I'm a 42-year-old man, married with 2 kids, trying to sort out my family's financial future in Alberta. I am currently working as a freelancer and making between $4,000 and $5,500 per month. My family expenses are sitting around $7,000 per month. My wife is working on her master's degree and gets some student loan funding, but the vast majority of the earning is up to me. Much of the shortfall has been covered by my parents, who don't really have the money to give us, but are doing so regardless. I'm in the process of paying off a consumer proposal to deal with some prior debt, so my credit is shot. And on top of that, I signed up for a floating rate mortgage. So my mortgage payments are currently not even covering the interest. My mortgage advisor has told me to sit tight for now. I had a municipal government job for almost 12 years that I was let go from last year, and I'm struggling to find comparable employment due to my lack of a university degree. I was internally promoted to a job I didn't have the qualifications for previously. I've been looking at many options, including returning to school to get a degree, working out of town, away from my family for a higher wage, and doing a side gig like Uber to supplement. Of all the options, school seems like the most practical way to increase my annual earnings, but I don't know how to keep the boat afloat while I do it. I would appreciate any advice. There is a lot happening. Income of $4,000 to $5,500, $7,000 expenses per month. So you're starting with a deficit of at minimum $1,500 every single month before anything goes wrong. consumer proposal destroying the credit, a floating rate mortgage where payments are not even covering the interest, and retired parents being drained to cover the gap. Your mortgage advisor has obviously gotten his degree from the Clown University, telling you to sit tight while your payments do not cover even the interest. That gap is compounding every single month, and you're getting deeper into a hole on the biggest asset you own while someone tells you to relax. And Uber? Come on, man. You have $1,500 in monthly deficit and 2 kids. Delivering food on weekends is not going to save this ship. Sell the house. Sell it immediately. That house is not an asset right now. It is an anchor. The floating rate mortgage is eating you alive. The payments are not covering interest, and your retired parents are draining their savings to keep you afloat. Don't own anything that your parents have to cover for ever. Selling buys you everything. It stops the bleeding, clears the consumer proposal, and gives you actual breathing room for the first time in years. Then you rent something modest that fits within what you actually earn while your wife finishes her degree, and you stabilize your income. Owning a home is a privilege and a long-term goal, not a right you have to hold on to at any cost. The house will still exist when you are ready again. Your parents' retirement will not replenish itself. Stop the tap from your parents today. Sell the house, rent cheap, get stable, and rebuild from solid ground. And make a plan to repay your parents whatever they lent you, you freeloader. Okay, what's next? Here. We're drowning financially, and I don't know what to do anymore. I'm writing this because I honestly don't know what else to do. My family is struggling, really struggling, and I could use advice, support, or maybe just to not feel so alone in this. My husband just earned his associate degree in veterinary medicine and is working as a veterinary assistant, making $22 an hour. He hasn't been able to study for his licensing exam to become a licensed vet tech, because he's been dealing with severe depression and mental health challenges. He was doing Uber on the side to help us stay afloat, but lately he hasn't been in a place mentally to keep up with that either. I work full-time in an administrative leadership role and make $30 an hour. For a while we were surviving solely on my income while my husband wasn't working, and everything spiraled. Our $2,500 per month mortgage was hard enough to cover a loan, and now we're 2 months behind on our car loan. Our credit is completely wrecked, and so many of our bills are now in collections. We have 2 kids, and I'm trying to pick up Uber in the evenings after my full-time job. But honestly, I'm probably losing money with gas and wear on the car. I'm desperately trying to find a second job I can work for just 2 to 3 hours in the evening after my husband gets home. But it's tough to find something that fits that window. To make things worse, we owe more on our car than it's worth, so I don't even know what our options are with the car. Surrendering it might still leave us in a hole we can't climb out of. We are trying. We really are. But everything feels like it's falling apart faster than we can catch it. We live in San Diego, where even a 2-bedroom apartment in a not-so-great area can cost over $2,000 a month. We've thought about moving, but I haven't been able to find comparable pay anywhere else. I'm so afraid of making more mistakes. I want to start by saying, something I do not say often on this channel. You are doing an incredible job under circumstances that would have broken most people already. You are working full-time, doing Uber Eats after hours, raising 2 kids, supporting a husband through a genuine mental health crisis, and you still sat down and wrote this out and asked for help. That is not weakness. That is someone fighting with everything they have. This is not a story about bad decisions. There is no reckless spending here, no lifestyle inflation, no avoidable stupidity. This is a family hit by a perfect storm. And depression is a real illness that does real financial damage, and there is no shame in that. But I do need to be honest with you about something. You're fighting as hard as you possibly can in one of the most expensive cities in the entire country, and that geography is quietly destroying you. Move out of San Diego. Your $30 an hour in Texas, Tennessee, or Arizona is not survival money. It is genuinely comfortable money. A 2-bedroom apartment in most of those states runs $900 to $1,200 a month compared to the $2,500 you are paying now. That difference alone could stop the bleeding immediately. And here is the real reason this matters. Your husband's licensing exam is the single most important financial event in your family's near future. A licensed vet tech earns significantly more than a vet assistant, but he is trying to study for a life-changing exam while drowning in financial stress in one of the most expensive cities in America. Depression feeds on pressure, and San Diego is applying maximum pressure every single month. Give him room to breathe, and he can pass that exam. Once he is licensed, your combined income, in a lower cost state, puts you in a genuinely strong position for the first time in years. Stop the Uber. It is costing you more than it is making you. Look for remote evening work instead. Medical transcription, virtual assistance, customer service. Your administrative background makes you a strong candidate, and it costs you nothing in gas. You are here because life hit hard in the wrong zip code. A geographical reset could flip this entire story within 18 months. You have already shown you will do whatever it takes. Now do the one thing that actually changes the math. All right, let's push through. Alternative Monk is asking, currently living frugal. I have roughly $900 left over each month as wiggle room, but have been using that to catch up, and I am able to work more overtime if needed. My car is in the shop, and it's worth $2,500. The repairs cost well over $3,500, and I still owe roughly $16,800 on my current car loan. I know it's completely messed up. I was forced to buy this car without notice and was young, with no guidance on how to buy a car and how down payment works. So here's where I need advice. The choice is, I keep putting money into my deadbeat of a car, or do I trade it in and buy a better car that will last me much longer? I'm unsure what the best option is here. Do I invest in the future for a better car while putting myself in more debt, or do I spend less money now just to keep fixing this vehicle? Damn these predatory dealers. You have a car worth $2,500. You owe almost $17,000 on it. The repairs cost more than the car is worth. So right now, you are being asked to pour $3,500 into a vehicle that is worth less than a quarter of what you still owe on it. That is not a car. That is a financial hostage situation with an engine. Now, I want to be fair. You said you were young with no guidance when you bought this, and I believe you. Predatory car dealerships absolutely target young buyers with no one in their corner explaining what negative equity means. That is real, and it is not entirely your fault. But trading in a car with $16,800 of negative equity means that debt gets rolled directly into your new loan. You would owe even more on a car you just drove off the lot. That cycle doesn't end. It just gets more expensive and the dealer gets richer. Do not trade it in and do not buy another car. Get a second opinion on those repairs first, because $3,500 on a $2,500 car is a red flag that someone is either misdiagnosing a problem or significantly overcharging you. Take it to an independent mechanic, not a dealership, before you authorize anything. If the repairs are genuinely necessary, then pay them, keep the car running, and throw every dollar of that $900 monthly wiggle room at the $16,800 loan. Do the overtime. Attack that principal balance until the loan drops below what the car is worth. Once you reach positive equity, then you have options. Right now, you do not have options. You have an expensive lesson you are still paying for, and the only way out is through. And the next time you buy a car, walk into that dealership knowing the out-the-door price, your financing rate from your own bank, and what the car is worth on Kelley Blue Book, and please take a grown-up with you next time you walk into a dealership, kid. Okay, this is going to be the last one for Uncle Joey. All these bad financial decisions are not helping my anger issues. Maybach 007, again amazing choice for the name, is asking. My dad gave me a week to move out, and I'm not sure where to start. I am 17, and I'm in California. Got into an argument with my parents, and my dad gave me a week to move out. I have no money, no job, no car, and no place to stay. I don't even know which clothes I should pack on my way out, as I already don't have much. Already asked a few people to crash, and they all said no. No family I can turn to. Really lost on what I should do, as I'll most likely be sleeping on the street. Any help is appreciated. Edit. I turned 17 last month, and I still have the rest of this school year and my senior year of high school left. My dad is not abusive to me, my mom, or my siblings. But he doesn't take lightly to people challenging his authority and takes pride in holding grudges. He said, he's kicking me out because I'm a man now, and I'm grown enough to take care of myself. I can cook and clean, so I don't need my parents anymore. I've tried apologizing to him and have been unsuccessful so far. I'm going to keep trying until he locks me out. I am going to talk to you directly, and I need you to really hear this because this is coming from a place of genuine care. You are 17 years old. You just turned 17 last month. You have your whole senior year ahead of you and your entire life in front of you, and right now everything feels catastrophic, and I completely understand why. But I also need to tell you something that might be hard to hear. You got into an argument with the person paying for the roof over your head, the food in your fridge, and every resource you currently have access to. I do not know what the argument was about, and it may have been completely justified. But when you are 17, with no money, no job, and no car, getting into a conflict serious enough to get you kicked out is a battle you simply cannot afford to fight right now. Your dad may be stubborn. He may be prideful. He may be handling this badly. All of that can be true, and you can still be the bigger person right now, because being the bigger person is what keeps you in school and off the street. Here is what I want you to do, and I mean this like an older brother sitting across from you at the kitchen table. Go apologize, not because you were necessarily wrong, but because you are smart enough to know that your survival right now depends on that roof staying over your head for one more year. Go to your dad, look him in the eye, and apologize sincerely. Tell him you respect that he provides for this family and that you let the argument go further than it should have. That conversation might be the most valuable thing you do this week. While you're doing that, start looking for a part-time job immediately, anywhere. Retail, fast food, grocery store, anything that puts money in your pocket. Open a bank account the day you get your first paycheck and start building quietly. Finish your senior year. This is non-negotiable. Your diploma is the foundation everything else gets built on. And here is the most important part. Once you graduate, once you have income and savings and a plan, if your home situation is still unreasonable, then you leave on your terms. You find a shared room. You split rent with roommates. You build your independence the right way with a foundation under your feet. You are not trapped forever. You're just not ready to leave yet, and there is absolutely no shame in that. Get stable, get your diploma, get your money right, and then go make your own mark on this world. You have absolutely got this, kid. All right, finishing it off with a bang. Again, folks, if you have any dilemmas you want answered, put them in the comments. I am a small creator, so subscribing and sharing my content would absolutely help me out, and it would cost you nothing. Uncle Joey, out. Love y'all.